There are people who believe in the motto that you have not lived until you have done something for someone who can never repay you. A glimpse of some of the stories of funds raised through the Standard Chartered Mumbai Marathon and the inspiring impact created by the NGOs. These stories will now be depicted in the form of monologues titled Paying It Forward, directed by Kaizad Kotwal and put together by the Poor Box Productions.
प्यारी मीरा, मुझे ये लिख के बहुत खुशी हो रही है. I've just passed my exams with first class. I'm very grateful for the money you raised through the Mumbai Marathon. Without this money, someone like me could have never gone to school. Many people talk a lot about wanting to change the world. You actually changed mine.
Sonali Didi, thank you for your words. But remember that it is your hard work and your talent that has made you pass with flying colors. Please do keep writing. I love hearing from you. With love, Meera.
Humankind has been meditating on the art of giving back to those less fortunate than us since the time of the ancients. Most important in the art of giving is to help the recipients realize their own worth, their own independence, their own excellence. In the words of C.S. Lewis, the proper aim of giving is to put the recipients in a space where they no longer read our gifts.
C.S. Lewis would be proud of the many people behind the true stories that we have brought to you this evening. The Standard Chartered Mumbai Marathon is not just a race. It has become a way of life, especially for those who use the event to raise money for their favorite causes. And although the race lasts only a few hours, the impact of the race lives on much, much longer.
In Panganbari, agriculture is everything to us tribal farmers. We have been brought up for generations to have great respect for the land and for the people and for the animals that help work our land. In our region, sometimes because of drought or sometimes simply because of crushing debt, the animals are often neglected and are left to fend for themselves without food or water. These animals are simply abandoned and left to survive out there all alone. After a natural disaster, whether flood or famine, the land is littered with dead or dying cattle. As a farming family, subsisting from crop to crop, we are not able to take in these animals and keep them alive as much as we would like to. It breaks our hearts to see these animals suffer and die needlessly. But the Srimad Rajchandra Gaushalya rescues such cattle and gives them a whole new life through proper rehabilitation. These healthy cattle are then given to farmers like us, and this helps us immensely by increasing our output and improving our livelihoods. We recently received two oxen for free from them. And now, in addition to our regular crops, we produce rice, bajra, and other pulses. Farming is hard work. But the happiness that comes from being able to provide for the whole family is unimaginable. And knowing now that our produce helps feed others, it just makes all the blood, sweat, and tears even more worthwhile. We have just redone the covering of our humble home with cow dung. The simple act of giving us 2 oxen has left us in a position to never having to ask anyone for help ever again.
When I used to bike, I used to feel truly alive. That feeling of freedom, of air washing over my face, of the world rushing by it made me feel great. But then I had an accident that left me with a terrible neck injury. I had weakness of the hands, poor control of my body, severe tightness in both legs. It left me fully dependent on others for all my needs. I had lost my mother many years before the accident, and my aging father was hardly able to help. Amar Seva Sangam truly saved my life. After intensive medical and nursing interventions, physiotherapy and training, I am now largely independent. I can manage my daily activities, walk with calipers, clear my bladder and bowels with intermittent clean catheterization and digital evacuation. After giving me my physical independence back, Amar Seva Sangam gave me the best kind of freedom and empowerment. They trained me in the fields of home appliances and cell phone servicing. I now run my own cell phone servicing center in Tirunelveli. And the best part? I'm back on my bike again.
Snakes. I hated them with a passion even before this awful incident happened in my life. There's something about snakes that really scare me. But you know, where I grew up, there were snakes everywhere. When I was pregnant, I was bitten by a Russell's viper. They had just managed to save my life. Can we fix this? I hate snakes. I hated snakes with passion even before this awful incident happened in my life. There's something about snakes that really scare me. But where I grew up, there were snakes everywhere. When I was pregnant, I was bitten by a Russell's viper. I didn't know how to differentiate between snakes, but later I was told that it is one of the most poisonous snakes in the world. When they just managed to save my life when another life-threatening complication arose. The very next day after the snake bite, I went into labor, and my baby was born prematurely at just 1.75 kilos. After I'd given the last push, and that when I knew that the baby was out, there was an eerie silence. Everyone knew that something was wrong. The baby was not crying. It was not even breathing normally. The doctors rushed us to the intensive care unit at the Srimad Rajchandra Hospital. There the doctors said that my child was diagnosed with venom toxicity and was given an anti-venom injection. My baby was kept in the NICU for 26 days. Even in this life and death threatening situation, my husband and I were worried that we would not be able to pay the hospital fees. But you know what? My baby thrived. And the hospital took care of us without charging us anything, so that when we took our baby home, we were not burdened by a debt that would have otherwise crushed us forever.
Everyone knows that poverty exists in India. But there are levels and depths of poverty that most people don't even know about or can't imagine. My family had lived in dire poverty for generations. It was almost as if it was predestined and never ending. In villages like mine, if you were born a woman and poor, you lived an existence that most of you over here can't even begin to comprehend. My husband and I, we lived a meager existence in the village of Kanjarvari. But still the gods were not satisfied with the troubles and tribulations we were facing. So they sent rain where it was flooding. My husband became very ill and stayed ill for a very, very long time. I had to work even harder to make 2 ends meet, pay for his medicine. It was as if death had forgotten and forsaken us, and I was this close to having given up. But then suddenly one day, the gods began to smile on us. I heard about the Mahila Gram Udyog and rushed to them for help. They focused on my homemaking skills and helped me build those skills to make food products and agarbattis. I started making a decent wage. But most importantly, they helped me instill self-confidence in myself. I have decided that I am going to learn everything I can so that I can make a better life for my family and myself. I want to be totally reliant so that if life expects me to be so in the future, I can. I'm learning to read and write. And that makes me feel good about myself and my place in this world.
My family lived very happily in a small hut in one of the poorest regions of the country. Then back in 2008, suddenly things turned very bad when heavy rains destroyed our crops and Abba found it harder and harder to feed us. Our very few savings vanished when Abba found no work, month after month. It is moments like these that lead many farmers to commit suicide. Ammi may have sensed this and convinced Abba to move to Mumbai. When he first arrived in the city, Abba was very happy to be able to earn and work at a construction site. He was used to the long hours of work and hard labor because he was a farmer for so long. Ammi found work in nearby apartments as a domestic helper. Abba and Ammi were both very worried as to who would take care of my brother and my sister and I when they were out working. Abba found out about the Mumbai Mobile Crushes organization operating at the construction site where he worked. Abba and Ammi were so relieved that we could go there and be safe. When we first joined the center, we only spoke Bihari. But by the 4th standard, we could understand Hindi, Marathi, Urdu, and English. There are many families like